Is the iPhone 13 Pro really Pro? Or is there an opportunity here for Apple to make their high-end flagship Pro iPhones a little bit more professional? What would really make the iPhone 13 Pro in your opinion? In this video, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what features and abilities and specs Apple could add to the iPhone 13 Pro to make it an unbeatable powerhouse that just wipes the floor with every other flagship available, and also do a bit of a deep dive into Apple's patents to see what the company is working on next and how that could possibly change Pro-end iPhones coming to a pocket near you. And a big thanks to Autonomous for sponsoring this video. Obviously, there have been many rumors floating around about the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro launching in a couple of months this fall. But of course, rumors are just that. They're rumors, and you kind of have to take everything you hear with a major grain of salt. But if we kind of put that to the side for a minute and we expect the rumors to be at least somewhat close to the real deal, then there is a lot to get excited about with the iPhone 13 lineup, and the 13 Pro in particular looks to be a very compelling phone worth your money, and even quite the upgrade from a previous generation iPhone that you might have bought not too long ago. It's finally supposed to pack the 120Hz ProMotion display, a bigger battery, a smaller notch, improved camera system, and hopefully Touch ID makes its return with an under-display fingerprint reader. There is a lot to potentially get excited about with the iPhone 13 Pro, but with that being said, I kind of wanted to examine the question of professionalism with the iPhone 13, and specifically, what would that phone have to have in order to get you to drop $1,000 right now, run out the door, or jump online and order that phone today? Like, what would Apple have to release with the iPhone 13 Pro to make it an unbeatable deal for you and to really justify its higher price tag? It's getting closer and closer to that almost sort of perfect iPhone, so to speak, that like has everything we really want. But what would take it the extra mile to really make it an unbeatable flagship that you just had to buy? Let's start with the obvious, because I think most of us are kind of thinking the same thing and kind of going along the same lines. First, let's just get rid of that notch. I think a $1,000 flagship iPhone that really is professional would do everything to get rid of the notch, whether that's thicker bezels like the iPad Pro, where Apple could kind of hide the Face ID components in the bezel, or whether that's under the display technology. The next move is, again, very obvious. It is getting rid of that Lightning port in favor of a port like USB-C, or specifically USB-C. And what's interesting about this move is that Apple kind of did this on the iPad Pro and explained their reasoning going from Lightning to USB-C for all the same reasons that make so much sense on the iPhone. You have access to better accessories, more professional accessories, docks and hubs, external drives, displays. USB-C is just kind of the standard, and it'd be nice to kind of have one cable and one port to sort of rule them all. And I think everyone would love to see this mass widespread adoption of USB-C finally come to the iPhone, though that's probably not going to happen. What looks more likely is that Apple drops the port altogether in an upcoming iPhone model, or they switch over to this rumored prototype MagSafe port on the bottom that we've seen in Apple patents, which honestly might not be kind of a bad middle ground. It'd kind of be a good compromise, because on one hand, you'd have access to a port, so if you needed to connect to do diagnostics or get files and photos and videos off of the phone, or even connect to like wired CarPlay, for example, you'd have that option. But when you didn't want to, you wouldn't have a port on the bottom to deal with at all, and you kind of have the portless iPhone experience. It'd also be cool if, just hypothetically, that MagSafe sort of port on the bottom could do special higher end things that we can't do with Lightning. So maybe it's faster data transfer speeds, kind of like Thunderbolt. That'd be super cool to see. Or you'd have sort of faster wired charging. I'm not sure how that exactly would work. I'm not going to get into technical specifics of it. But if there was some sort of real big benefit with going with that MagSafe port on the bottom, and it opened up a new realm of accessories and possibilities, I think many people, including professionals, would be really excited to see that and would definitely give it a try. There's also been some talk of Apple potentially going with a totally radically different design for their higher end Pro iPhones than what you have with the regular iPhones, like the mini and regular models. And right now they look pretty similar, though there are some differences with the build and stainless steel and stuff like that. But really they look a lot more similar and alike than they do different. But what if Apple was to change that? We saw some recent articles and some rumors about Apple potentially adopting a Mac Pro style design on an upcoming iPhone model. And could you imagine what an iPhone 13 Pro would look like with this crazy design? I actually don't hate it, and I think it looks kind of cool. Obviously, it'd be a little weird and strange to hold because there's all those sort of circular holes all around the phone, but it would be kind of cool. It definitely would give it a cool, unique look, and that aluminum should do wonders for the thermals inside of the iPhone as well. Maybe Apple could put some sort of, overclocked A chip inside that could get better performance, or you could have better battery life, or, there's a lot of cool reasons to go with some kind of aluminum chassis like that, and it definitely would make a lot of sense. Not only would it make the Pro-end iPhones look a little bit different than the regular models, but also we see Apple sort of starting to adopt this Pro-end design language on their higher-end devices. Obviously, the Mac Pro is the device that kind of kicked this off, that has that really weird alien circular style on the case, but we also see it on the back of the Pro Display XDR as well. So maybe this is sort of a staple of Apple's Pro high-end expensive devices, and it one day comes to the iPhone in one form or another. Not sure if it would look like that or something radically different, but I, for one, am all for a new design and a different design on the Pro-end models coming very soon. Besides a bigger battery, it's kind of hard to complain or want anything more with the internals of the iPhone because the Apple Silicon chips are just so powerful. Obviously, it would be nice to move closer and closer to an M series equivalent, so you'd have the same power in an iPhone that you would in a MacBook Pro, for example. I know Samsung's DeX sort of gets a bad rap these days, and it's getting more and more popular, kind of, but they're definitely onto something. And we've seen Apple patent the idea, and they're kind of working on this internally, obviously, of some sort of iPhone docking station solution that would allow you to harness the power of an iPhone on a much bigger display and use it more like a traditional computer. Again, just a thought, not sure if Apple's gonna do it, but it would be really cool to see and would make the 13 Pro just a little bit more pro. And speaking of patents, I sort of did a little bit of a deep dive into iPhone patents for the past year to kind of see what Apple is working on and kind of where their mind is at on future Apple devices. And obviously, just because Apple patents something doesn't mean it's going to come to an iPhone or it's even going to come to fruition in any sense of the word. It could just be kind of an idea they just want to make sure that they have ownership of. But if we kind of look at these patents and kind of see where Apple's mind's at and what their train of thought is, it's kind of cool to see what could potentially be coming down the road in future iPhone models, because there's a lot of stuff to get excited about, and I noticed many common themes. Before we continue, I want to take a quick break and welcome you to my home office. The reason for the set change and the little peek behind the scenes is because I want to show you one of my favorite pieces of tech of all time, sitting right behind me right there. It is the Autonomous Smart Desk 2. I spend many hours in this room every single day, from prepping and writing scripts to shooting B-roll to editing videos like this that you're seeing on the channel right now, and I am using the Smart Desk 2 by Autonomous every single day for many hours a day, and I love it. It has totally changed the way that I work. The Smart Desk 2 gives me everything I could want. It's got a strong and quiet motor, an ultra premium design that looks fantastic, a programmable keypad to easily switch between different heights, plus a whole lot more. One of my favorite features of the Smart Desk 2 is the super spacious matte and scratch resistant tabletop. So whether you're sitting or standing, you've got lots of room to really spread out and build out your setup just how you like it, and it supports up to 300 pounds. Assembly was super simple, build quality is impeccable, and the Smart Desk 2, like I said, has really just changed the way that I work every single day. Autonomous also has a wide variety of other options available on their website, so you can kind of get the look and feel that works best for you, and they're all made from super high quality materials and available at a great price. There is always a great way to save when you shop Autonomous, and if you want to learn more about the Smart Desk 2 or just check out everything that Autonomous has in their lineup, we're going to leave a link included in the description right down below. We'll also include any special promotions or deals going on as well, so get the current best offering at that link right down below. Learn more and check out the Smart Desk 2 today for yourself, again, right down below. First, and probably most obvious, Apple is patenting a lot of technology around the iPhone's display. These are curved displays, these are sidewall displays, these are wraparound glass displays that go all the way around the iPhone, kind of like these crazy concept render videos we've seen floating around for a while. It looks totally futuristic and also a little impractical, but Apple's definitely working on some different display technology. Obviously, there's been rumors that Apple is working on some sort of foldable iPhone that competes with the Z Flip and the Z Fold line line from Samsung, but also it's interesting to see these patents on different types of displays we sort of haven't seen before. There's been a lot in here in the patents on the sidewall displays, and it's not sure if this is a display just to show you information or if you can interact with this either with an Apple Pencil or with touch. There's also patents for display technology on the back of the iPhone, which also does kind of make a lot of sense in the professional context. Like, what if you could hold kind of your iPhone out and take a picture, a selfie of yourself, but have sort of a back screen so you could see what you were taking a picture of? That'd be kind of cool. We've seen this with other cases and other different accessories before. It'd be cool to see it though built into the iPhone. And also, speaking of pros, what if you could sort of use the back of the iPhone as a display to use as sort of a portable light? Again, get a little out there, but it would be sort of cool to see. And again, it's just really cool to see Apple is working on this, and we could, in one sense or another, see this come to an iPhone in the next couple of years. Also, if any of this crazy concept phone stuff sounds interesting to you and you like really unique and different form factors, you definitely have to check out the Jon Rettinger channel, because Jon is breaking down the latest and greatest, the hottest Android flagship phones out there that are foldable, that have different displays, dual displays, crazy camera setups. There's a lot happening in that world, and even I, a lover and admirer of Apple, can also kind of peek my head over the fence and admire and enjoy what Android and different manufacturers are doing with those phones as well. So definitely check out Jon Rettinger's channel. He is obviously a legend and a titan of the tech industry, and he's doing an awesome job with great high quality cinematic breakdowns of the latest and most unique Android phones. Check out that channel and subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't, you gotta make sure you do that right now. Check it out at the link right down below. Another theme I saw in these Apple patents over and over and over again was the iPhone underwater. Apple has a thing for water, and whether it was simple things like expelling moisture and salt water from the iPhone to a totally custom interface you could use your iPhone with underwater, there is a lot that Apple is researching in this space, and there are many, many patents to prove that Apple is very interested in this idea. And maybe I'm in the minority. I don't really use my iPhone near water, let alone ever submerge it underwater. But I guess this is kind of an interesting space to kind of consider. And I guess more than just kind of waterproofing your iPhone, what if you could shoot photos and videos underwater with your iPhone with no special kind of case or housing required? And I guess going back to kind of the pro mindset, if you could take your iPhone underwater and shoot photos and videos and maybe even like have a really high quality audio, Apple's working on that as well, that would be really crazy and could really save you a lot of money and not having to buy these custom water sealed tight, crazy custom camera rigs that you'd have to have in order to take a high quality camera underwater. That would save you a lot of money. And if you could just do it with your phone, that would be actually really cool to see. And actually now that I think about that, that would be a really cool idea, just to be able to dunk this in water, shoot photos and videos of fish and other things, and kind of be able to take it out and use it like, nothing happened. That'd be really, really cool. And speaking of cameras, let's talk a little bit about hardware and what Apple could do on the 13 Pro to make that camera system a little bit better and a little bit more versatile and professional. And honestly, Apple has never been known for having the craziest hardware or the most megapixels or the biggest sensor, but boy, do they know how to optimize what they have and get the very most out of it. They have an incredible camera system that is great for photo enthusiasts and is certainly leading the pack in terms of video, even when compared to Android phones. So there's really not much to gripe about with the iPhone's camera system, because Apple's doing a good job at making it increasingly better and more versatile. Smart HDR is obviously a staple of Apple devices, and I honestly really like the way that Smart HDR handles photo processing. Obviously, the addition of Pro RAW was a wonderful new feature to add to the Pro and iPhones this year as well. On the 13 Pro series, I'd love to see Apple take that a step further and bring RAW functionality over to the video on the iPhone. Hopefully this could be like ProRes RAW, which is very compatible, and you could basically shoot video on the iPhone, then bring it into an editor like Final Cut Pro, and then be able to adjust exposure, white balance, and lots of other settings, all with granular control totally after the fact. We see this on high-end professional cameras, and it's coming more and more down the line to more prosumer cameras, but it would be crazy to see Apple add this to the iPhone, and this would make the iPhone's photo and video system even more versatile, and definitely would just be a wonderful professional feature to have on this Pro high-end expensive iPhone. Obviously, the iPhone has a very bright future ahead, and it's nice to see Apple give the iPhone lineup the attention and nourishment it deserves. Obviously, some years we get bigger upgrades than we do others, but time and time again, Apple kind of surprises us and shows us that they are looking kind of forward and in the future and looking to make the iPhone the best phone possible and giving us lots of crazy features that we didn't even know they were going to add, and with time get better with software updates as well. So what are your thoughts on the 13 Pro? As it stands right now with the smaller notch, the ProMotion display, upgraded camera system, possibly Touch ID under the display, is that enough to get you to plop down $1,000 plus in order to get the higher end Pro iPhones? Does it make sense? Or what would Apple have to do in order to get you to do that? What would the iPhone Pro series have to have either with the 13 series or in the future in order to make it a professional, versatile phone, very much worth well over $1,000 of your hard-earned money? Let us know in the comments down below what would really make the iPhone 13 a real Pro phone. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Robert Roosevelt with the Apple Circle. Thank you so much. As always, I sincerely appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.